Extraordinary meeting of the Regional Council. We have one item, but we need to just go through a little bit of formalities first. Peter, we don't have to open our meeting, do we? Should we?
Kia tau mai I ona manaakitanga kairungi a tātou katoa.
Well done. Thank Amen. So welcome everybody. We have apology from who we have? Charles.
I move the Charles' apology be accepted.
Second. All those in favour?
Aye.
Do we have any notices? Rick Barker needs to get to Gisborne. We have that. Okay, we have no notices. 2, no conflict of interest declarations that are resulting in this meeting that are new. On item 3, the confirmation of minutes, I'm going to move them to the next meeting of the Regional Council because
I second that motion.
You've only just got it. You've only just got not time. You move that?
I'll second.
I'm going to have anyway.
That's fine. She's good looking at me.
Anyway, seconds. All those in favour of moving them in?
Aye.
So we have one decision item which comes from our RPC meeting.
Two.
Two.
It's a late paper.
Oh, the late one. Is that the
quorum.
the quorum issue?
Yeah. Right, we'll get through it quickly.
Okay. The first one is the recommendation from the Regional Planning Committee, which is the meeting we've just been through. Do we have a mover?
Second.
Mover. And a seconder and sheriff. Do you wish to speak?
I thank you, sir.
All the speaking
Please not.
done. Okay, all those in favour of accepting the recommendation from the Regional Planning Committee?
Aye.
Against? It's unanimous. Thank you very much. I don't have the other late item
I don't have to
agenda.
say anything. Can I go?
You're off.
Well done, congratulations.
Work to do now.
Sometimes less is more.
Oh, the late item. Okay, thank you
all
very
been
much,
said.
Petty. So we have one late item, standing orders provisions for meeting quorum in the event of an emergency. Oh, this is a big one. James, you need to just speak briefly to this.
2 sentences.
Look. Well, it's a complex issue, but so look. Obviously, in light of COVID-19, we are wanting to both limit the extent of gatherings of large numbers of persons, and also to be able to conduct meetings when people need to self-isolate or are in some form of quarantine. It's complicated by the fact that the Local Government Act has specific statutory requirements about the physical presence of either half of all the number of members where you have a even number, or a majority when you've got an uneven number, such as the 9 councillors present for council meetings. And so under the current circumstances, we cannot convene a meeting of council by law and pass resolutions unless we have 5 councillors physically present in the meeting. The other 4 could join by teleconference or video conference. This is a matter which is currently being discussed with government, and we are hopeful that by order in council, under emergency legislation, that the government will enable us to suspend those provisions of the Local Government Act and enable us to conduct council meetings by teleconference or video conference. However, until that is approved by Cabinet, we are in a position of having to have 5 of you present for council meetings. However, notwithstanding that, we do have the opportunity with our committees, who are not similarly bound by legislation, to suspend the standing orders provisions, which currently mirror the legislation with respect to councils, in enabling video conferencing, but only where we have a majority of the committee present. And so the proposal is that we suspend standing orders, and there are standing orders provisions noted in the paper to enable the temporary suspension of standing orders, so that for our committees, including the Joint Committee on Civil Defence and Emergency Management, that those physical presence requirements aren't maintained. And the proposal is here that we have 2 members of the committee required to be physically present, from my reading of the paper.
That's what it says.
Yes, 2. So I'm just wondering whether Leanne can advise, or Joe, why we went with 2 and not the option for the entirety of the committee to potentially attend by video conference or teleconference.
You go.
Through you, Mr. Chair. The reason we've gone with 2 is because that meets the requirements of the Local Government Act that committees must have a minimum of a quorum of 2.
A quorum of 2, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
we haven't gone down the track of suspending the standing orders so much as just specifying that quorum itself. Because even if we do suspend this standing order, it still contravenes the legislation about needing them to be present. So in the
Sorry.
interim, while we're waiting, hopefully something from central government to say that we're allowed to have them not present,
Thank-
was
thank-
that's what we're
Thanks, Leanne. So
suggesting.
it would have probably been helpful if I'd asked you to talk to the paper in the first place, given that I did read this at about 11 o'clock last night. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. The 2 options are canvassed in the paper, and the proposal is that we change the quorum for the subcommittees to 2 persons to enable that video conferencing and teleconferencing. So I think that's
Okay, I think we're all
sensible.
clear what this is all about. Are there any other questions?
Sorry. Chair, just a quick one. Where? Present where? Do the meetings have
What
to
does
be?
present mean?
In the room,
How do you know?
Physically.
No, but in
physically
this
present, it
precincts or somewhere?
specifies physically present.
Which room?
But it could be any room. So I think we
Yeah.
can conduct
Yeah.
The meeting has to have a time and a place.
place.
So where you stipulate the place could be actually the car park. As long as 2 people are standing in the car park, they are present.
Well, that's the answer then. So it can actually be anywhere, or at CDM headquarters.
Wherever it's.
No, it actually says,
That's
yeah,
right.
that's right, a person who's not physically present is not to be counted as a part of the quorum for the purpose of 20.
That's right.
It's a time and a place.
Yeah.
That's the problem, isn't it, 25A, okay.
I'm happy to move.
We have a mover and a seconder. Do you wish to
Thank
speak,
you.
Rick? Anyone else wish to speak to this?
Hang on, are we moving the suspension of standing orders that would place us in conflict with the Act?
No.
Damn torpedoes, or are we?
You're temporarily changing the quorum
Yeah.
for the committees, which is actually...
Just doing the committee one, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And those quorums are set out from
Alright.
recollection in the terms of reference for each committee. The one thing that I just draw your attention to here is that the Regional Planning Committee is not listed because their quorum requirements are specified in legislation, and actually that's obviously our biggest committee, and that presents some issues in terms of us having 20 plus people gathering in a room.
But you'd use McLean Park then. They were sitting in one corner. Shout out across the board.
I mean, we've been promised advice from LG&Z very, very soon, so this is very much an interim position until we know nationally what their advice might be.
The fact is, we've never had something like this
Yeah.
since we had a problem in the 1940s with, what was it then they had?
A world war.
No, it wasn't like, no.
Touche.
Polio. This is the first time we had the Spanish flu before that. The next big thing was polio. It was the 1940s.
Okay,
So
come
we
on.
have
We've got a
to-
mover and a seconder. Anyone else want to speak to this?
So they're just the 2, it's you and me, the 2, and everyone else.
Well, look, can I suggest it would be helpful to have the chair, at the very least, of each committee physically present, if at all possible, but we'll obviously have to, it'll depend on the health circumstances.
Yeah.
To be determined at the time. Let's
That's
just be sensible
Yeah.
about this.
Sheriff?
I've learned through all of this, working with government, in a situation where it's like a metro station, the stops have just got shorter. As soon as you get to the next stop, you need to look at the data information. Where am I going? Going left, going right. And these stops have become really short. Whenever we come to a stop, we need to make a decision. So we can't actually make decisions further out. Next stop, we'll make another decision.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? It's carried unanimously.
So Jim, can I just make a suggestion that James put to us at our next meeting, whether, apropos of what Rick was talking about earlier, some broader delegation to you would be helpful, whether within some parameters or otherwise, if you need some interim ability to make decisions that currently are outside your ability, and that have to come to us. I mean, if there's some way that we can make efficient within some constraints. Yeah, just think about whether we could extend your delegations if we need to do that for agility reasons. Then we could do that as an interim step on.
Outsider's ability.
Okay, come on, we're having chit chat after we've moved, so we've finished. That's the end of the meeting. If you want to stay and have a talk about that, that's fine. That's the last item, and Patty, you can quickly close our extraordinary meeting. As quick as you did your opening, or as long as you wish.
May your ride to Turanga and then to Ohope be a safe one. Be careful. 7 times more likely on motorcycles to have an accident. Be careful.
If you're old, if you're over 60,
I'll
probably
be
20 times
maintaining,
more.
I'll be maintaining my space.
And no one will miss that yellow
Separation
bike.
distance.
Kia tau, kia tātou katoa, te āta whai i o tātou riki o Ukraiti, me te aroha o te atua, me te whiwhenga tahitanga ki te wairua tapu. Ake, āmene, kia ora.
God, all, thank you very much.